So what's the max that we can lower the mill levy?
We can lower it, I guess, 0.
Oh,
The max you can lower it.
Well, I think what he's asking is, what can you lower it to without going to hearing, without going to hearing?
I don't know. She sent me stuff, I asked, and it sounds like if we want to lower it, we just tell them. And I don't think it matters as much if you're going down than it does up. I didn't get much guidance on you going down.
Yeah.
But this is still going down.
It's still, it's
But
going down right
the
now.
property values are so high that it puts more.
Yeah.
And you're only halfway, we're through the year and we've only used not even 50% of the budget, but we got, the truck is.
Well, we still got the truck that we had to pay for.
Right, so we ain't gonna have a problem with that this year. And I don't know where we're at.
So I mean, the difference between last year's budget and this year's budget is $4,000 for this year's and next year. That's why I broke it down like that, so you can see what it is. And that's just with the
So that's
neutral rate.
lowering the mill levy, and but you're still getting
Lowered it
$4
at
grand.
100%, so if you lower,
So I mean, if you want to lower it, I don't think it's that big a deal, because I've been looking at this thing. This is the form that I have to fill out, whether we accept the revenue neutral rate. And the only thing in here is if you intend to exceed the revenue neutral rate, then you fill out your proposed mill levy and then the date of your hearing and the location. There's nothing about going lower than that, so there's.
no hearing.
Right,
So if we go lower than that, I don't even think they'd have a budget hearing.
right, you don't have to do anything.
We don't need to go lower.
We just tell them, hey, we want it to be this, and, you know, if I call her and tell her you want.
Well, we need to have that, we need to have that discussion, because we're running a budget of 132. Even if we lower the mill levy for 2024, we're still gonna end up with 136,000. So the question is why not save taxpayers some money and keep it in the $132,000 range, because we know we're making it on that, you know. And I don't see property allowed
It only takes one thing, and it's gonna.
Well, then we raise it back up the following year.
Yeah, but raising it back up, then we have to have a hearing.
Well, that's
So, yeah, I
fine.
agree.
Who's gonna come?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Who even knows what they pay in taxes now? 90% of the people don't, because it's escrowed into
Nobody's gonna know.
They get a big deal.
I mean, we're sitting here with $152,000 in our equipment reserves right now. We're gonna pay cash for a truck.
I mean, okay, what's $4,000 divided over our?
Oh.
Well, you could go down to 4 mills and you'll get it back to the 132.
I ain't going down to 4 mil.
Without changing it, what's $4,000 divided by our population of our fire district?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, no,
Nothing.
it's not the deal.
but every year, it's because of property values, it's went up.
but that's not us. We've still got to maintain the services here. If you keep riding the property valuation, when they tank, we're going to have nothing.
And sooner or later, this place is gonna have to be manned. So you better look at, yes,
Nah.
oh yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah.
role of volunteerism is gone. Look,
Yeah.
Oh, well,
It's gonna have to be manned.
you know.
That's gonna change your whole outlook though. It's not, that ain't gonna work you're gonna have to get county involved in everything else. You're not gonna be able to, I mean, the whole tax situation is gonna change whenever you.
And you don't have the population for it
You don't have
anyways.
the population for it anyway.
You don't have the population in the whole Jackson
but
County
if you
to
can't get
justify it.
anybody to volunteer down here,
Anybody here,
it's
you're
going to
gonna
have
lose your fire department.
So, and that could be the case, because when you're talking about having to pay somebody, then you're talking a whole nother animal.
Like I
So-
said, they already get what they get for pennies.
And so,
Well, it's not gonna change this budget
Somebody's
here.
gonna have to step up eventually.
I mean, you got to look at the population that's happening here. I mean, it's not like it's growing. It's not like it's growing a lot of people over the time. time in the last 8 years that I've been here.
The kindergarten enrollment this year?
You need to get off the
was
west side of the
78
highway.
kids. They had to hire another teacher. That's like 20 more kids than what they
Okay,
were before.
what's the next class coming in? So last year was low, this year it's high, you know, so.
I don't know what you're talking about, the population.
What I'm talking
This
about,
side of the
guys-
highway, there's been 10 new houses built.
What I'm talking about here is that we're running a budget of 132,000. It goes up $4,000 more. We can't, we're not spending the 132 that we have now.
I can spend it if you want me to.
So,
You know,
well, you can spend-
I'm trying to maintain this.
I mean,
at a
what
level
are,
I can spend
then
it.
tell me what your needs are that we are not supplying.
You know, you gotta look past the end of your nose when we're looking at this. You got a 40-year-old building here that's gonna have to be replaced.
There's 132, 53, there's $352,000 in there. We're
Do you
buying
think this building's gonna last forever?
We just put a new roof on it. Why wouldn't it?
It's 40 years old. It's a Morton building.
We're maintaining it. As long as we maintain
As
it.
long as you maintain it, it should be fine.
I mean, we'll put a new roof on it.
It won't last forever.
But not necessarily it won't last
We're
forever.
not looking at replacing the whole thing. If-
Well, you
if
go
we're
out there and
repairing-
look at the-
If we're repairing as it goes along.
Okay, you go through and walk through this building. Now here between the doors, they're starting to rot off at the ground between the doors. You know, there's structural issues starting to occur with this building.
Yeah.
So, and if there's structural things that,
Well, then
you know,
let's just fix the structural thing that is occurring.
I mean, if we did
Don't lower the budget.
If we tear this down and have to spend $80,000 on it, on putting it back up, then guess what? We'll spend $80,000 to put it back up.
We have a
We're
truck back
talking about a
there.
measly $4,000.
You got a truck back there in a 5-year plan that's probably gonna have to be replaced.
Yeah, 180.
Yeah, you know, so these are plans down the future that you gotta have the money to do it. Because if you start cutting the budget, you sit here and say, we're never gonna go into debt. If something happens that we may have to go into debt, if you don't have the money to cover.
Okay, what is it? Is it personnel or is it building? You know, I mean, we can have this argument all you want. All I'm telling you right now is that
If you're worried about the amount of taxes that people are paying, maybe you ought to talk to the county and the school. We get nothing.
What are you
pay
talking
nothing.
about?
Well, you're saying, let's lower the taxes, let's lower the taxes, lower the taxes.
Look at the budget. Look at the budget right now.
I understand that, but we got $450,000 trucks that may have to be replaced, and you don't have enough to do
Well, I
it.
guarantee you will never buy a $450,000 truck. Hell,
You need to get caught up with the times of what's going on. Trucks do not
You know
cost a
what? You know what,
penny.
Ed? You're here for a advisory point.
No, you need to get.
argue the point that whether or not.
No, I'm here to run a fire department and do with the equipment I need.
With the equipment you
Oh,
need.
Jesus Christ, I might as well just quit. Then you're not gonna have a department. Because the top 6 people on this department, if we walk out the door, you don't have a department, because the other 18 people don't show up.
So $4,000 is gonna save your butt.
I'm not talking about the $4,000, I'm talking about you cutting our throat when the property valuation
I'm not
drops.
cutting your throat.
Yes, you are.
We're working
Why
on
are we cutting your throat on that?
Because when you're gonna cut this mill levy to a point when these property valuations drop,
Yeah.
the budget's gonna be
We're
half.
talking about ifs.
Oh, it will.
It's when,
If.
when.
Oh, yeah?
It's not.
Well, what's happened in the last 10 years? Have your property values dropped in the last 10 years?
Actually, they dropped a couple of years ago, then they came back up.
So, yeah, and very minimal.
And the biggest portion of yours is ag property, and ag property has not dropped in a long time. Ag property is.
All I'm saying is why are we thinking about upping a budget by $4,000 when we know that we can survive.
All right. Then
Survive on
you need to take the
132,000.
statement away that if we get into a situation, you need to take that statement away. We're never going into debt because you're gonna have to pay for something when it happens.
And that could happen. But
But it's never going to work.
isn't
Yes,
gonna-
we're against going into
Nothing
debt.
there ain't nothing says that we can't drop the budget this year and go back out next year if we
Yeah.
see problems.
But the thing of it is if we stay where we're, like, if we don't drop it per se, and just leave it, and see what happens.
Been doing that for the
It's
last
not
3
gonna
years.
increase.
Been doing that for the last 3 years. and every year we get it.
In the last 3 years,
We've been
keeping the
keeping the
same,
budget
same,
the
rate.
same
Dropping the mill levy.
It is the same rate as, we've been dropping the mill levy, and we're still gaining money.
What's wrong with that?
So, we're still getting
What's
money.
wrong with that?
What's wrong with that?
Gaining a little bit of money.
So,
We're not gaining a lot.
And the issue is right now is you're gaining money, you're fighting in December to spend, to get it down to where you can
Well, not
move
even
money
spend
over.
when we're ready.
and this year, I don't believe we have limited any kind of spending this year.
Wait, there was a couple times.
Like what?
here. I can't remember what it was, but
You know,
And because we had that conversation 4 months ago.
And for instance, the day after the board meeting last month, we had a truck go down. It's been up and replaced. We haven't even got the bill on it, but we're looking at probably a $5,000 or $6,000 bill to fix that truck.
Okay,
There's still nothing.
I was gonna say, cause you ain't even used it, we're not even halfway.
We're
over
waiting on a
halfway
fif-
through the year,
We're
we have
waiting
not
on
used half.
we're waiting on a $50,000 truck.
That's fine, we still got, we're gonna cover, either way.
either way, because we're sitting right now
We
with
knew
our
that when
budget.
we ordered the truck, we could cover it between the general.
We've got
fund.
$115,000 in our budget right now, cash.
I understand where the budget is on the money we have on hand, but you're not looking down the road for problems that could arise that we're gonna need the cash to take care of.
We will only put 25% in there, 25% every year, by all.
This is beating a dead horse, because all you guys have done since you come in here is wanted to cut the budget to where we don't have a fire department. That's all you wanted to do.
I make a motion, we cut this budget to 4 on the general fund.
And I second it.
Do you want it, I don't know what that does. That drops it last year. You just want to hold
Should
it
drop it
this
down
year?
to.
I wanna hold it at this year's budget.
132,000 is where it should put it to.
Well, I'll let her know that. I don't know if that's actually gonna drop the mill levy at 4, is what I'm saying. I don't know how the mill levy converts.
Okay.
So I would say drop it.
Now you want.
The motion needs to be
And
to leave it at this year.
then, of course, if you want the full board here for this, then that's
You don't have to
fine.
have the full board, you got a quorum,
Yeah,
and you gotta get this in, he's gotta put this in.
I'll have to go talk to her tomorrow then,
okay.
because I won't.
But, and
I'll need
then
these-
now any descending
I'll get
votes, that's
this
fine.
reprinted, because this is what I would have had you guys sign if you want to accept the revenue neutral rate that's presented here. So I have to have her redo this with the lower rate and see where we go.
But I don't want, I think that we can survive on the budget that we have now in the general fund and equipment reserves. I mean, on that. And if we see fit next year, if it is, and we have to have a meeting and everything else like that, then we will do that.
So,
No,
But
I'll talk to her about it and see. Here's the thing with that revenue neutral rate, they have a formula that sets it. We can go down, sure, without a problem. We do have to do the meeting if it goes up, but I don't know how that affects the revenue neutral rate for next year. It may already go back up automatically with the revenue neutral rate, the way the state does it, okay? And we can look at it.
I mean, I know they're cutting the middle levy there, but we're still ending up with $4,000 more.
Yeah, so
I would go with what we have, and I'm gonna go with.
I would be okay with leaving it at the 2023 level and just see what that does with the mill levy. It's gonna take it down more, obviously. But
Okay.
this revenue neutral rate system, I don't know how that works.
Well, I'm with Mike. If we can keep the same budget we have this year for next year, then, and whatever that rate is,
And we just keep an eye on the amounts in our accounts. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, Ed, and you're worried about the budget getting cut, but at the same time, we could talk all day about what ifs and what could happen. Thing is, we don't really know. Have a tornado come through and wipe this whole place out, yeah, we wouldn't have the money to rebuild it. That's what insurance is for. But
there's a motion and a second on the floor, so.
okay.
all in favor?
Hi.
Opposed?
All right, I'll talk to her tomorrow. I may have to.
And Leave them, leave the first responder the same, or my motion is to leave the first responder where it's at, or at the 1.47 that they've,
With their revenue neutral rate?
that revenue, yeah.
In the general
Put
fund,
about 48,000.
and then leave the
General fund.
Leave the general fund, or leave the budget, or excuse me, leave the first responder fund alone at the 1.474.
So at the $48,058 budget for next year?
That's my motion there.
And you wanna use the 132,967 for last year to make it next
Well,
year's
in that,
budget.
whatever that, or whatever form,
Those are the ones you want, right?
whatever form.
Yep.
We need to get the gear ordered, we need to get the tires ordered, we need to get everything ordered.
Alright, making a motion to leave first responder fund at the 48,058.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Alright,
Opposed?
It's,
Need
I
everybody to
mean, we
sign.
left it alone,
that copy.
so.
This one,
Everybody needs to sign that copy then. So I can turn it back in that we accepted that budget.
oh. this
That's
is
for the first responder.
Oh, first responder, okay.
And I'll talk to her about the general fund one, then I'll try to get there tomorrow morning.
That's for the first responder
Responder,
that we,
since we didn't change anything.
since that one, first responder will go up to 48,058, but it would still drop the mill levy to 1.474 instead of the 1.5 level. The general fund will stay the same as it was in the 2023 year. It will not go up to the 136,986.